Hello, this is Rich Bankhead with an introduction to AutoCAD video, and in this video I'm going to kind of give you an overview of AutoCAD and basically how to get around. And so typically if you launch AutoCAD, this is the start screen, and what you're going to want to do to at least get a blank document open is go up to the A in the upper left hand corner and click the drop down and select New. And this will open a page which asks you to select a template. And typically the template that we want is just this blank AutoCAD template right here that you see highlighted. So go ahead and select this and then select Open, or you can double click the AutoCAD and it'll open as well. When AutoCAD opens, we get this format, and at the top of it, AutoCAD, like many of the Microsoft products, is ribbon based, and so you see Home, Insert, Annotate, Parametric, and all the functions across the top. You can see by opening many of the ribbons. And for us, at least in the introductory level, we'll be staying mostly on the Home ribbon. And there are two really schools of thought in teaching AutoCAD. Traditionally, AutoCAD was keyboard based, and with a set of keyboard commands that were entered down here at this command line window. For example, if I want to draw a line, I just type line and hit enter, and then I can draw a line on the screen. And if I want to undo that, Control Z undoes that. With the move to more graphical based programs, AutoCAD has included this very nice ribbon system. And at least initially, I'm going to teach you to draw without the ribbon and really at the command line. Before we get there, let's go over a few more features in AutoCAD really that are set up. So first of all, if I'd like to close the ribbon, and I can right click up here and then click close, and it will hide the ribbon for me. If I'd like to open the ribbon again, if I type ribbon down in the command line, it'll replace the ribbon. And in my next few videos, I'm going to go ahead and draw with the ribbon hidden, just so that I have a little bit more screen area on the window. The next thing that I want to point out is that AutoCAD has in the lower left-hand corner has three tabs: Model, Layout 1, and Layout 2. Model is where we do our drawings. Layouts are where we set up how our drawings are printed. So you're always going to want to make sure that you're on the Model tab and not either the Layout tab. So if you get it looking like this, you're going to want to make sure you go back to the Model tab. You'll notice that it's black here, and we can change the configuration of this, but more than likely we're not. The next thing I'd like to point out is that you have some buttons down here at the bottom, and these are sort of your controls for AutoCAD. We're not going to talk about all of them today. I'm just going to talk about a few. So the first one here, if I click on and off, turns the grid on and off. The second one turns your snap modes on and off, and you can see it's blue or clear. The next one, and we'll come back to this little drop down last, the next one turns your orthographic control on and off, and typically we're going to toggle it on and off as well. And also notice that when I mouse over them, the function key comes up as well, so I can use F8 to turn orthographic on and off. And so let me show you what this key does. If I go back into the line command and I have the ortho off, I can draw lines in any direction. If I turn the ortho on, I can only draw lines at 90-degree angles, and once I start drawing, I can go in and click it on, and then now the ortho's on, and I can only draw lines. Now, real quick, if you're practicing and you're playing along with, once I get into a command, I'm in the line command, ortho's on, and I want to exit this line command, and it's still in line. If I reach up and hit the escape key, we're going to use the escape key to exit out of commands. And I can turn the ortho off again and enter the line command, click line, and then draw lines again, hit the escape key to exit, and I can draw lines on the screen. The next thing that were a couple things, you have polar tracking, where you can turn it on and off, and by default I think it comes on in AutoCAD. You're going to want to turn that off, and then ISO drafting, we're going to want to make sure that's turned off. Now all of the snap controls or snap mode controls are under this drop down that you see right here, and if I click this drop down I can open one snap settings box and opens the drafting settings. And so I can see all of my snap settings here on different menus, and this is typically where you're going to want to make updates and changes to your snap settings, and they're very important. We'll talk more about it, but at least want to show you where all the controls are. So first of all, F9, this is our grid snap and grid. Our grid is on, but our snap to grid is off, and that means that when the point will locate at a grid intersection. The next is our polar tracking, and we won't talk about polar tracking here, but I want to make sure I have polar tracking turned off. The next thing, probably the most important tab on this set, is the object snap. And I have, notice F3, I have object snap turned on and object snap tracking as well on. And these are the different entities within AutoCAD that I can snap to. And notice that I have endpoint and midpoint turned on and center turned on, intersection, and you're going to, depending on what you're doing, you're going to want to change what your lines snap to, because we're going to want to make sure that points finish and begin at endpoints or midpoints or the like, or perpendicular, and so this set of snaps will be very important. Sometimes I don't want my snaps turned on, or I want certain ones turned off, and I want to come in here and then make adjustments. And 3D snap, I want that turned off. And then dynamic input, this is where you change your dynamic input, and I can turn it off. I typically leave my dynamic input turned off and draw from the keyboard, but I think a lot of new drafters in AutoCAD find it very beneficial as well. So we'll talk more about that in later videos, but also this is where it's controlled. And then you also have quick properties, display quick properties, and typically I leave this off. It's really too much information for me. Okay, so quick overview of AutoCAD. Again, we have the ribbon up across the top, and then really this set of controls down at the bottom, which would be very, very beneficial. And we'll use these, but at least I want to just give you an introduction overview to the screen. And in the next video, we'll pick up and learn how to draw commands.